Okay, so I guess that's everyone. So let's start with our webinar. So good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, everyone. Welcome to Qwilr's Design Class, where we unlock the power of the web through visual storytelling. So my name is Laika. I am part of Qwilr's digital design team, and I will be your instructor for today. So before we begin, I would like to note that this design class assumes your basic familiarity with Qwilr. So if you're new to it, no worries. Feel free to stay for valuable tips, and then afterwards consider watching our Qwilr 101 on-demand webinar for a comprehensive introduction to the basics. So over the next hour, we will be exploring different topics like how to make your Qwilr page look great, how to design different Qwilr blocks, and we will share some tips and tricks to enhance your pages as well. So over the next hour, or since we only have an hour for our webinar, we will break the first 40 minutes as a demo and the last 20 minutes for a live Q&A, okay? So we also have some housekeeping items that we'd like to mention before we start. The first one would be, where can I post my questions? So your questions can be posted on our chat box. And we also have our fellow designers here who will be answering your questions for you, okay? Next, can I turn on or off my video? So by default, your cameras will be turned off. So no pressure in turning it on if you don't want to, okay? Next, my mic is mute. How do we unmute it? So your microphones will also be muted for the next 40 minutes to ensure a smooth webinar and so that we don't interrupt our instructor. So let's start by defining what Qwilr is. So Qwilr is a modern sales proposal software, but that's not all. Qwilr also represents a modern way to sell. So with Qwilr, you can create customized and engaging sales materials, ultimately impressing your prospective clients by simply sharing a URL instead of dealing with numerous bulky attachments, okay? So as I mentioned earlier, I am part of Qwilr's digital design team. But what do we do as the digital design team of Qwilr? So we are the team that specializes in transforming your documents into a visually stunning and interactive Qwilr pages to help you stand out and leave a lasting impression on your clients and stakeholders. So on our demo later, we will show you how to transform a document into a Qwilr page from a designer's point of view. But for now, before we start with our demo, we will be sharing a simple acronym to help you as a guide when designing your Qwilr page, okay? So the first letter would be letter G for gather and group. So this is the collecting and arranging of content to make the page easier to use and understand. So for example, this is to ensure that you have all the contents and assets ready when you work on your Qwilr pages, okay? And then next would be letter R for readability. This means keeping your text legible and understandable for anyone who reads your page. So for example, make sure you are using a simple font style, okay? Next would be letter E for emphasis. This means highlighting your key content to clearly convey your message. So this can be by using your accent colors or setting your text to bold, H1, H2, etc. Okay? Next would be letter A for artistry. So this is the importance of infusing creativity and artistic touches to your Qwilr pages. So this can be by adding images, icons, splash blocks, etc. And then lastly, we have letter T for tailored. So this means customizing your page to showcase your brand and message effectively. So this can be by incorporating your company logo and brand colors and fonts. Okay. So that is our acronym. Again, G for gather and group, R for readability, E for emphasis, A for artistry, and T for tailored. So now that we know our acronym, we will be moving to the next part of our live demo. So, but before that, just to remind everyone again, if you have questions, feel free to send them to our chat box. You don't have to wait for the design class to finish before sending your questions. So our fellow designers are on standby on our chat to answer your questions for you, okay? So let's proceed. So for our demo, we will be using this partnership agreement in a PDF. So this has our title, introduction, partnership overview. We have a testimonial here, terms and conditions. Also, we have a case study and our contact information. So with this, we will be turning this document into this version of Qwilr. So this will be our what we will be doing on our live demo. So we will show you how to work on this Qwilr page for our demo today, okay? So to save time, we already transferred the contents of the document into a Qwilr page and also uploaded the necessary assets that we need to design our page. So that represents the letter G of our acronym, gather, and group, okay? So let's start with our hero block. So the hero block, to remind everyone, is the very first block that your customers will see when they open your Qwilr page. So we will be redoing this block here by clicking this plus sign here and choosing a splash block instead. And then next we have options of images and videos. For our demo, we will be using image. And then we will go to view all so that it opens our image library. So as you can see, we have our Unsplash collections here. If you don't have any assets yet in your account, you can always search for different image here to use, okay? But if you do have your brand guidelines or your brand assets, you can always ask your marketing or your design team for those assets so that you can upload them on your account, okay? And then for our demo, we will be going to our account folder and choose the background image of our hero block, which is this one. And then next, we will be modifying this block by going to the block style button and then changing the block width from medium to large and then the spacing from 1/2 to full. Now, what does this do? So block width allows your content to occupy the largest space on the left and right of your screen, okay? And then block spacing allows your block to occupy your screen size if it's in full, okay? So if you are using mobile, tablet, or a bigger monitor, your block will resize to that full size of your screen, okay? And then next, as you can see, we have a red accent color here. But if you compare that with our red on our slash block, it looks darker. So why is that? It's because we have this dark tint here at 25% opacity. So we will be removing that by simply clicking this and dragging this button all the way to the left. Or you can just simply change the value here from 25 to 0, okay? Now, as you can see, we have a brighter red color here. Next, we will be adding 2 columns here so we can add details and images as well. So let's click this plus sign here and choose this 2 columns option. And then we will be adding our company logo on the left column. So again, let's press this plus sign here and then choose the image. And as you can see, again, we don't have anything here. So let's go to uploads and then partnership agreement folder. And let's look for our company logo here. So we will be reducing the size of our company logo. First, because this is too big and this will overpower the rest of the content of our hero block. So we will need to reduce the size by grabbing any of these 4 circles here of our image, and we will be reducing that at least for this size. And then we will also be changing the alignment from center to left so that it looks a bit more professional, okay? Next, we will be adding the text that we have from our previous block and then adding it on our left column as well. And then we will be applying the letter R, readability of our acronym, by changing this heading to H1 and then this subheading to H2. And we will also be aligning this to left so that it is consistent with our logo at the top. And as you can see, the readability improved because we have a clearer versions of the different text that we have. But we will be improving this more by increasing the impact of our heading. So we will be changing the text size from 65 to 75 and then reducing the subheading size from 40 to 30. And this is our left column. And last thing will be, we will be adding our image by going to our image library and choosing our hero image here. So as you can see, we added an image because we are using a very simple splash background, okay? So that is our hero block. So other versions that you can try aside from this layout is this. We have this simple hero block here without the two columns. So we only have our logo and details here. And then next would be similar to what we did earlier, but instead of an image, we used a simple animation of our product here. Okay, so these are versions that you can try as well. Going back, we will now be moving to our next block, which is the introduction block. So there will be two things that we will be doing here. The first is to apply the agent photo, because if you remember, we have our agent photo here. So we will be adding this on our block as well. So let's press this plus sign here and choose two columns. And then we will be reducing the width of our two column because we need to align this side to this text that we have here so that they are all consistent, okay? Next, we will be also swapping the image frame to the left by simply clicking this button here because our agent photo is on the left. And we will also be reducing the size of the left column by dragging this divider in the middle all the way to the left, okay? Until it locks into this section here. Next, we will be adding our agent photo. And then for our agent photo, we will be editing this. We will be changing the frame into a circular frame to make our agent photo softer. And we will also be increasing the size a bit so that it doesn't look too small as well. Okay, so this size is okay. And then next would be, we will be grabbing this last section of our introduction block, cut it, and then remove the extra space and then paste the content to the right column. And then for this section, the name and position of our agent, we will be applying the letter E emphasis from our acronym grade, okay? So we will be setting this to H2 so that it looks bigger and so that it is easier for our customers to know who they are talking to on this partnership agreement, okay? So here is our completed introduction block. Other versions that you can try would be this one. So we also used two columns here, but we added the content on the left column and then the agent details and the agent photo on the right column. Okay, so this is another version that you can try. So going back, let's proceed with our next block, which is our partnership overview. Okay, so there will be two things here as well that we will be working on. So as you can see, we have a lot of text here, and we would like to reduce the amount of text that is currently here because first, this amount of text can overwhelm your customers, okay? And also, it lacks the letter A of our acronym, which is artistry, okay? So we will be adding artistry on this block by using our visual accordion. So let's add that first. So let's press this plus sign again and then choose the accordion option. And as you can see here, we have our simple accordion by default. So we will be changing this by clicking the accordion and then going to the style button and then changing the card style from simple to visual. And then additional modification on our accordion is to change the image height from medium to small because we have 3 sections here and we would like to compress this block as much as possible, okay? And then we will also be removing the tint to 0 as well so that it doesn't look dark on our image. And then next, we will be going to the card button or the button section and change the style of the button from this arrow into this text button here. And also we will be changing the color from black to white so that it looks more noticeable because as you can see, the block doesn't look that impactful. So we will be changing that to white. And then we will be changing the text as well from expand to view and then from collapse to close, okay? And that's the modification that we will be working on. Next, we will be changing our image because as you can see, this image doesn't align with our partnership agreement proposal, okay? So we will be changing this by going to the swap image and then going to our images and selecting an image that is matching our page, okay? And then next, we will be grabbing this first section here and then delete the extra bullet there. And we can do a shortcut here by simply going to this add heading section and then pressing the paste from our keyboard. So if you can see, it adds the rest of the content inside the accordion. So this is a simple shortcut that we can do when using our accordions, okay? So let's go through the rest of our accordion by adding each section to the rest of the accordion that we have. And then let's remove the extra space. And last one, let's add the content and then change the image. So this is our completed partnership overview, okay? So this is again a sample of artistry on our acronym. So other versions that you can try for our partnership or overview is by using the 2 columns. So the location of the image and text depends on your preference. So you can swap these two anytime, okay? Next version would be by using, again, your 2 columns, but instead of images, we use the icons that is of course relevant to our different sections here, okay? So this is an example of our partnership overview block, okay? And then going back, we will now be working on our testimonial. So to save time, we already added this splash background here and this image since we already did that step on our hero block, okay? So to explain a bit of the design, since we want this block to be a bit more impactful than the rest, since this is a testimonial block. So we added this black background and this image to add a bit more impact, okay? So the only thing that we will be working on this block is our testimonial here. So as you can see, we will need this testimonial to be more impactful because this is a key message for our agreement page, okay? So we will be applying the, again, letter E of our acronym by simply pressing this code style button here. So as you can see, our testimonial increased and there's also a bar on this left side here but we will be changing that because as you can see, it's not visible because the color is currently black. So we will be changing the bar color to red, and then we will also be displaying the quote icon so that we can remove this quotation marks that we have here. And here you go, we have our testimonial block, which is where we apply our emphasis on our acronym, okay? So a bit of a tip as well, we have an extra space at the top. So to remove that, simply click this whole frame of the 2-column, then cut and paste. And as you can see, we removed the extra space there, okay? So that's our testimonial block. And then other versions that you can try for your testimonial block is by using the company logo of our customers. So especially if you have big customers for your testimonial, you can always add their logos here because it adds credibility to your company, okay? And then another version would be by including the testimonial video that we have. So this allows your customer to know a bit more of the details between your partnership with your customers, okay? So another version that you can try as well. And then going back, we have our terms and conditions next, okay? So we will be applying 2 of our acronyms here. The first would be letter R for readability and E for emphasis, okay? So how do we do that? We can do that by simply changing this subheaders here into H2, okay? So if we click this H2 here, reduce the text size from 30 or 40 to 30, and then change the color from black to red, it improves the readability and emphasis because it allows your customers to know where they are exactly in the terms and conditions, and it also allows them to know or to look for the sections that they are more interested in compared to the rest of the terms and conditions that we have here, okay? So this is how we improve the readability and emphasis of our terms and conditions. And then, as I mentioned earlier on our partnership overview, we have this lots of text here as what is always with terms and conditions, okay? So we will be hiding this block by going to our block options and then setting the block into a foldable block. So why? Again, this amount of text can overwhelm our customers, okay? So we will be hiding this block so that it doesn't affect the rest of the flow of our page, okay? So if we click this, it hides our terms and conditions because we have obviously a lot more contents for terms and conditions, not just these 4 sections here, okay? And other versions that you can try for your terms and conditions, if you don't want to use the foldable option of our block, you can always use our simple accordion here. So simple accordions allows your content to be compressed, but at the same time hiding the lots of text that we have on our terms and conditions. So this is another way to organize your terms and conditions, okay? And then other version as well is by using our 2 columns, which is the usual layout of our terms and conditions here, okay? And then going back, let's close these terms and conditions. And before we go to the case study, we will be adding our accept block here by adding a block and choosing this accept option. And we will be choosing this multi-accept and e-sign. So this is useful if you have multiple assign or acceptees on your page, okay? So let's add a text here, agreement, acceptance, and we will also be changing the text from black or from red to black, and then we will also be changing or setting the text to bold as well. And then for this block, we will be setting or add or applying the letter T of our acronym, which is tailored. So how? So we have here a green accept button, which is not part of our brand colors. Okay, so we will be setting this or changing the color from green to red to match our brand colors, which represents our tailored acronym. Okay, so this is our accept block. Okay, and then we will now be going to our case study. So again, we already added our contents here to save time. And to explain a bit on the design, we added a simple slush block here as well, so we can add a bit more on the content. So we will be changing a few parts here. So the first would be these two columns. So as you can see, we have our heading and our subheading or our image here. So we will be changing this because it looks disconnected with the heading and the image. So how do we improve that? Simply by swapping the location of the text and the image. So if we press this, it eliminates the very big space that was in between the heading and the image. So again, so this looks better because it connects the image and the heading here. Okay. And then next would be, if we look at our content here, we have this 25% productivity increase that we have. So this, we will be applying our acronym E emphasis on this section because this is, again, a key section of our page wherein this is a positive response of the improvement that happened between our partnership with our customer. Okay, so we will be setting this to H2, change the font from 40 to 30 so that it's only one line. And then we will also be changing the alignment to left so that it is aligned with the rest of the contents here. And then let's also change the color so that it has a bit more impact compared to the rest of our block here. Okay. And then next would be, we will be adding our button. So go to plus sign here and then choose the button option. And by adding a button, you allow your customers to read more of the article that we have here. Okay, so let's add a text, read case study. And we will also be modifying this by going again to the style button, change the color to white so that it looks more noticeable, change the button size from medium to small so that it doesn't look too big, and reduce the roundness of the button by grabbing this button here. Okay, and we will also be adding a sample link. So for example, Qwilr.com. Okay, so that is our content section. And then lastly, we will be applying a bit of the letter A, artistry, on our acronym. So how? We can simply do that by going to the plus sign here, add an image, and doing or adding this line that we have. So if you can see, a simple line here adds a bit of artistry on our block. Okay, so this is our case study block. And then other versions that you can try as well would be by using our visual accordion. So this is useful if you have several visual accordions that you would like to use or to show to your customers. Okay, if you have several case studies, you can always include them by using the visual accordion here. And then next would be another version is simply laying out the content in a single column like we usually do on our content here. So this is another version that you can try. Going back, we will be moving to the last block that we have. So there will be two things that we will be changing here. The first is this image because this is too big and it is overwhelming or overpowering the contact information that we have on the right column. So we will be improving this by simply reducing the size into something like this. And then we will also be improving the balance of the page because we have a very big space at the bottom here, which doesn't look balanced with the rest of the left side of our block. Okay, so how do we balance the content? We can do that by simply adding a space at the top of our heading here. So how do we do that? So you can control the space by pressing Shift Enter on your keyboard. So Shift Enter, and here you go. We have a more balanced content on the left and right column. Okay, so to show you the comparison, let's remove that. And if I press Enter only and change this to heading again, we have a very big space at the top of our heading. Okay, so that is the space that we get if we simply press Enter. But if we press Shift Enter, we can control the spacing of our contact or heading here. Okay, so the Shift Enter is similar to the space that we get when our text here moves to the second line if it's too long. Okay, so that's the space that we have. But if we press Enter, that means another line or another sentence. Okay, so that is our contact information block. Okay, other version would be by adding our Google Maps embed here if you want to include your office location on your page. Okay, so you can always add or use our Google Maps embed here. So that is our conversion. So to show you a side-by-side comparison, here's a video that we created for this webinar. So this is our hero block here. And then we have our introduction. And then we have our partnership overview. And also our testimonial, if you can see the difference as well and the improvement. And then we have the terms and conditions. And also we've added our accept block after that, which is this one. And then our case study as well. So this is our case study. And lastly, we have our contact information. So that is the side-by-side comparison of a Qwilr page versus a PDF. Okay, so I hope you learned some helpful designing tips on our live demo, but we're not done yet. So let's move to our design class tips that can help you enhance your pages even more. Okay, so design class tip number 1. So ensure that the background aligns with your company branding and that you have the permission to use them. Now, as I mentioned earlier, if you don't have your brand guidelines yet, you can ask your marketing or your design team to provide them for you to ensure the correct usage of your branding. And also, we would like to avoid copyright infringement by using royalty-free and licensed content. So this falls under the letter T tailored of our acronym. Okay, next, tip number 2. So if you don't want to use your splash video option but still want motion within your page, you can have the alternative option of using a GIF. So you can use it as a background, or you can also add it as a brief clip relevant to your content, or add it as a basic animation showcasing your product. So this is a short clip that is a sample of our product highlight, which enhances engagement. So this falls under letter A, artistry of our acronym. Okay, next, tip number 3. So use up to 3 consecutive backgrounds of different harmonizing colors, then add a light background color after. So why is that? So it's because this is to give your customers a visual break from the patterns or colors used in the previous block. So a visual break provides a refreshing contrast to your page. But this one depends on your branding. So if your branding mostly uses black, then that's okay, as long as you alternate the black background and then a splash background and then black background after. Okay, so this falls under readability of our acronym. So how? So because having a visual break allows your users to refresh their vision, and so that it will also allow them to focus on the next parts of your material. Okay, so that's our tip number 3. Tip number 4. So integrate images, icons, or graphics on important sections of your blocks to enhance focus and visual appeal of your Qwilr page. So visual elements convey information more effectively. So this falls under the letter A, artistry, but also under letter G, gather and group of our acronym. So how? So by separating your content into different sections like this sample here and adding images, so you create a visual hierarchy and it improves the organization of your page. So as you can see here, our sections look more organized with the different sections and images that we used on our block here. Okay, so this is tip number 4. And then tip number 5, so you can add logos or videos of your customers on your testimonials or success stories or case studies to add credibility and reassurance of your products or services. So these types of assets builds trust on your brand, okay? So this falls under letter E, emphasis of our acronym. So how? So by adding these assets, logo, images, videos, you highlight your testimonial, which is a key information on your page that showcases you did a great job and that your customers are very happy with their partnership with you. Okay, so that is our last tip for our session today. So that's our demonstration.